All right, let's jump right into one of the biggest questions we hear about federal gun rights restoration under 925C. The big one, does federal relief actually force your state to comply?
Look, this is where things can get a little confusing for a lot of people, so we're going to slow it down, we'll break it apart, and make it super simple to understand. I want you to imagine your gun rights are locked behind two different doors. You've got the federal door, right? And then you've got the state door. They're separate systems, but, and this is key, they definitely affect each other.
So what is 925C actually doing here? Well, when the Department of Justice gives you relief, think of it as them handing you the key to open that first big federal door. So once your application gets that green light, the most important change happens at the federal level. Your federal firearms prohibition, it gets removed. And what that means is, you are no longer federally barred from possessing a firearm. That is the first and honestly the most critical step in this whole journey. And just to give you some perspective on how massive this is, for over 30 years, there just wasn't a real path for federal restoration. So yeah, this is a truly historic shift. But opening that federal door is really only half the battle. It's so important to understand what 925C doesn't automatically do, and that brings us right to the state's position.
Here's the bottom line. Your state isn't forced to do anything right away. Getting federal relief does not, and I repeat, does not automatically wipe out any state-level firearm restrictions you might have.
You gotta remember, states have their own constitutions, their own laws, their own rules. It's like a parallel legal system that doesn't just automatically snap in a line with what the federal government decides on this. But this is exactly where the real hope comes in. This is the part of the process that most people miss, and it's what we call the power of alignment. So even though 925C doesn't force your state's hand, it creates something incredibly powerful. It creates federal alignment. And that, right there, is the key to this whole thing. This alignment gives you something huge: federal clearance. It means the highest level of government in the country has officially signed off on your case. And maybe most importantly, you get federal recognition that your legal disability, that's the official term for the ban, has been lifted. This is a total game changer. So why does this matter so much? Well, if you look at history, once that federal disability is gone, the states tend to follow suit. Having this federal clearance puts you in the absolute strongest position you can be in. So how does this alignment actually work in the real world? Well, first, the state loses its main reason for its own ban. Second, state courts now have a positive federal finding to look at, and that often pushes lawmakers to update their own state laws to match the new federal standard. Okay, you with me? Let's do a really quick knowledge check, just to make sure we're on the same page. True or false? 925C relief immediately forces your state to restore your rights. The answer is false. It doesn't force them, not immediately. What it does is create this powerful alignment that puts major influence on the state's decision. So, what's the single most important thing you get from 925C federal relief? It's achieving that powerful federal alignment. That's the real prize here. Okay, so what does all this really mean for you and your situation? Let's pull it all together and map out your path forward. And if you remember nothing else, remember this. While it doesn't force your state's hand right away, the crucial point is that it gives you the strongest legal position you could possibly have. Period. A lot of people ask, so what's the point then? The point is that federal relief is the foundation. It's the starting block that makes getting your state rights restored so much more achievable. And hey, if you want the entire 925C process broken down for you step by step in just plain, normal language, you can get everything you need over at our hub. Please remember, this presentation is just for educational purposes. We're not attorneys, and this isn't legal advice. We're just here to help you understand the law in plain English. We truly believe that when you have the right tools, knowledge turns into power. And that power, that can lead to freedom.